What's up, YouTube? I have here a very old sort of a Walkman, if you want, although they didn't call it Walkman back in the days. This is the successor of the unit that went to Apollo program that was used from, I believe, Apollo 7 in starts perhaps 1968. And Sony had the TC50 back then, and they were recording their conversation and also playing back for the amusement part, the astronauts that is. And then after the TC50, which was much more simpler than this unit, had very few, like 2 buttons here, maybe a few, 1 or 2 buttons on the other side. After the TC50, they Sony, not they, made this TC55. So we have the number of it. It's on the side here and was put out for the public. Start being sold in 1972, and because we are right now in 2021, I could have waited 1 more year to call this a 50 years old device. 50. It's still working, but not exactly like it was new. That's perhaps because someone tried to replace the belts inside and didn't connect properly some wires, or maybe the also capacitor inside are getting old. Anyhow, this was not the only device of this kind back in the days. I will link in the comment section a link to there was a magazine, I just don't remember the name now, but it's a magazine where you see there were at least 10 models similar to this one from various other companies, Toshiba, whatever it was back in the days. You will see there were many of these. And this one, they put in, there is a picture in that magazine, which I recommend you take a look. This one was about the third smaller. There were other devices bigger in size than this one. So it's not the only one. It was just something very popular, and it was meant to be a recorder, a voice recorder, like for the people who are doing interviews and stuff like that. Now, one of the things I like to start with is the weight of this puppy. I can tell you it feels like keeping a real brick in my hand. Like you would perhaps use this as a recorder, and if you perhaps you were a female walking back in the back home at night, you can also use this for self-defense because it's way heavy. And I have the my kitchen balance, so I'm going to put this in grams first. That's almost 1 kilo, so you don't see it very well. Almost 1 kilo, 890 grams. If I can switch this to pounds, it gives you almost 2 pounds. Way heavy. Now it does have the battery pack inside. It also does have a cassette. Everything in this unit, besides this side buttons, which are plastic, and I can tell you that are not very fancy looking buttons, and besides this piece here, this one and this scroll, everything else, maybe even this plate, I'll try right away, everything inside it's metal. The casing, the outside casing, what you see silver, it's aluminum. So it's, I believe the price back then, 72, was about $70 or $80, which converted to 2020 turns about $400. So it's not exactly cheap. But like I said, everything it's metal. All this it's metal. This one also is plastic. The small, I think it's plastic. I'm not sure how I can test that. Let me just push up the cassette so it goes like this, and just press eject and check it out. Whoops, it jumps from there. Even this plate here, this plate, it's metal. I have a magnet to me, and you can tell it's metal. This plate here is metal too. It's crazy. That one, it's something like stainless steel, so it's not going to attract. Obviously the aluminum doesn't attract magnet, but this plate also, it's metal. Everything here it's metal. That's why it weighs a ton. And I think, imagine if you are in yeah, this one too is metal. If you were to record someone, you keep this in your hand. Sometimes you stretch your hand to reach for that person, especially if you are the more the one reporter around. So gives you an idea. You need to have some muscle for you then. Anyhow, so it's kind of I do have another Walkman, which was made around, at least started to be sold in 82. This one started to be more like typical Walkman, although it's still big. It's still big compared to the later ones. And it still has, this one is full plastic around. I should make a video for this one sometimes. But inside it has a electronic board, fully real smaller but true size capacitor. So this one has an electronic board, a big one with, I didn't count them, but there's a lot of capacitors. It's like a carpet of capacitors. This one, the electronic board, is much smaller with fewer components, so it weighs less. This one is still pretty weighty, but to give you an idea, I have a this is not a Walkman, it's a Discman, but it's the typical size and weight for a unit that was made later in the 80s. And if I put this on a balance, so I'm not sure what says this. Let's see if it's 2 grams. So it weighs 1 pound and weighs 600 something. Yeah, 700 grams. So you can tell this one was much heavy. Anyhow, like I said, these are side buttons. It's just playback, basically, for fast forward, record. What you do is just press this button here, keep it depressed, and press the playback button to start it, but you need to have a cassette inside, and stop and review. And you can also, while playing back, you can fast advance it. Play this and it's playing back faster. It has a very sensitive microphone here. It has a potentiometer, which is for checking the battery. It doesn't work on my unit, but the way you check for the potentiometer for the battery, you just press play and the needle should move to the actual charge of the battery. And when you record it also, if I understand well, it will record the voice intensity, I think, but I'm not sure about it because it doesn't work. You have the volume button, you have pause, and just have it roll. You can interrupt the recording or the playback without touching this button here. And also you have, because this was somehow the electronics are meant to record voice, you can also, when you play back, you can switch to music, which Sony says it changes a little bit the tonality of the sound to be more like adequate for music playback, but I couldn't find the difference myself. It has a counter for the cassette here. So if I put a cassette in there, it has this small clip, which is a cassette recording check. Basically, if you have this metal tab here, and it should be on both sides, so if you flip the cassette back, you can record on the other side. If you have this plastic tab here, you can record on this cassette. If you would buy a cassette with, I don't know what, U2 or something from the store, those cassettes will always be missing this tab, so we cannot record on them accidentally, but you can still just fill this with a little bit of paper and start recording on that cassette too if you need it. So anyhow, that's to say that you will always have a pin at the bottom and you need to press on that pin. And when you install the cassette, so you put the cassette in there. I don't know what's on this one. It's an old cassette of mine, I guess. Let's play back. Oh, it's on pause, so I will just Start it here. Okay, that's surely 80 if you recognize the sound. So it's not very loud, obviously. It's okay. The speaker is pretty big inside. I could see it. It's just like that. So it's good. It's decent, but obviously it's not going to blow your ears. For the recording, I'm not going to record on this cassette, but what I can tell you is that the mic is very sensitive. On this unit, if I would play back, press for recording, it makes a scratchy sound for some reason. Like I said, I think the wires inside have been badly connected at some point. Also, the previous owner did replace the belts, and replacing the belts on this unit is crazy difficult because you can actually remove the casing. You have one, two, there is 4 screws here. I think this is 4 screws, and there is this plate here. It's hooked. You need to lift a little bit the black plate to free this one here. So it's not difficult to remove the covers, and this whole cover comes out. However, accessing after that the belts, it's very, very difficult, and well, that's how it goes. You can also see how the hinges here are made all metal. So it's like a door with metal hinge. Very, very nice. This one also had a sort of like a bump piece to attach a lanyard, but I did remove it. You just need to remove the cover, and it has a securing clip inside. Just slide that out and remove the bump. This is the battery pack for 2A batteries. You need to press here to slide it out. I did show in another video that you need to then I think you can use one hand, and you need to match the color here. But I had a problem with playback speed was too slow, and that's because these connectors here were corroded. There's green over there, and I had to clean it up and then start playing at normal speed. So it didn't get enough voltage from the batteries. Sony says the batteries last for about 2 hours recording. So yeah, this is it. It's a brick. I can tell you that although you see it's very nice finish silver, this writing here, it's stamped, so it's paint, but it's also stamped. I could feel it, the letters by with my finger. Too bad that this potentiometer doesn't work, because it would have been cool to see it working. Like I said, it's the finish is very, very nice. Sometimes this door may be not aligned properly. You can bend it a little bit to make it align here. The finish is very nice. However, the looks of the unit, didn't mention these ports. You have the AC adapter. I'm not sure what the monitor is. Perhaps you just get another maybe potentiometer, external potentiometer, something like that. You have a remote. Perhaps you can activate it with a small cable back in the days, and also you can insert a microphone. The finish is very nice, but the looks are not good. It's just maybe you can call it industrial looks. It's nothing fancy about it the way it looks. So if you are willing to collect these things, it's more for the construction part, I think, and the weight, because it's very surprising if you give someone to keep this in your hand. It's just like you would surprise that person. So it's more about the vintage part, and the construction part, all metal, just to kind of remember how the things were done back in the day. And you can have the made in Japan on the sticker too. Let's see. It was made in Japan, perhaps not by very happy workers, because they were overworked, the Japanese people, and they still are. So it's not something fancy if you are collecting these things for fastness. I could find this on eBay. All of them were non-functioning, non-operating. Perhaps the belts were too old. So you can grab them for very, very cheap. It's not something that you will play back and listen for hours. It's just not loud enough, not clear enough, but it's for the memory of it perhaps, and also the memory, like I said, the way the things were built, quality, and very, very strongly back in the days with good materials. Okay, thanks for watching.